So, here's a question that literally no one asked. Should you buy a 3DS in 2019? And if so, which one should you even buy? Well, let's talk about that. So ever since the original 3DS came out back in 2011, we have got so many different models such as original 3DS, 3DS XL, 2DS, 2DS XL, new 3DS, and the new 3DS XL. Okay, yeah, sure, there may be literally a million different models, but hey, you're probably wondering which one should I even buy, and is it even worth buying? Well, in this video, I'm going to help you talk through each and every model and see if it's actually worth buying. And also, the other question is, should you even buy one of these, or just get a Switch? Well, let's talk about that. So right now, in 2019, you can buy 6 different 3DS models, and I'm going to be talking through each and every one of these. So first up, we have the original 3DS. The 3DS originally came out back in 2011. It was supposed to be something revolutionary with the ability to play games in 3D. But of course, every revolutionary piece of technology has its drawbacks, and this was the design. The overall design of the 3DS was just not really amazing, and especially the Cosmo Black glossy design was just, honestly, was just terrible. The membrane, the start, home, and select buttons was just terrible. The stylus placement on the back was horrendous, and the stylus itself wasn't that amazing. And just overall, the 3DS was a cool piece of technology, but the original design of this thing was just horrendous. Next up, we have the 3DS XL. The 3DS XL came out in 2012, a whole year later after the original 3DS came out. The 3DS XL's job was mainly just to be a decent successor to the original 3DS, and it actually succeeded that in a lot of ways, such as having actual physical start, home, and select buttons, a better stylus placement, and just the overall design of the 3DS XL is a lot more sleek and modern than compared to the original blocky design of the original 3DS. And of course, by XL, it means it has extra large screens, which is about 97% bigger than the original 3DS's, and also the 3DS XL has a lot of different editions of it. Next up is the Nintendo 2DS. Honestly, when this thing originally came out, everyone thought this was just some joke that Nintendo made, but honestly, this was supposed to be a cheaper way to play 3DS games. Another thing that Nintendo decided to do was to go with a more blocky design with the 2DS than with the traditional clamshell design of the original 3DS. And because of its more blocky design, the 2DS is a lot more durable and I suppose childproof than the original 3DS and 3DS XL. And another thing is that it's a lot more comfortable to play on as well. Next up, we have the new 2DS XL. Really, the new 2DS XL was just really a last stand for the 3DS family just in general. And honestly, it did kind of work. The new 2DS XL was just really a cheaper copy of the new 3DS XL, just without the 3D feature. But it does copy a lot of features from the new 3DS, such as the C-Stick and the ZR and ZL shoulder buttons. The stylus placement on the new 2DS XL is the exact same as the new 3DS, but the stylus on this thing is just terrible. And another really weird thing is that the camera placement on this 2DS is just really weird. Another thing is that they put a flap over the 3DS cartridge slot and it's just really dumb. Overall, the 2DS XL was really a last stand for the 3DS family, and it does still hold up, but not really the greatest thing of all time. Next up, we have the new 3DS. The new 3DS was supposed to be an updated version of the original 3DS, and honestly, it really is a lot better than the original 3DS in almost every way possible. Overall, the design of the new 3DS is a lot more sleek and modern than compared to the original blocky design of the original 3DS, and overall, the new 3DS has a lot more features for it, such as face tracking 3D, DC, or nubstick, whatever you want to call it. We also got colored buttons, which is awesome. We got the ZR and ZL shoulder buttons for extra gameplay, I don't know. We got the weird cartridge slot placement, and we also got a really, really dumb stylus placement in the stylus itself. Not the greatest, and we also have the ability to change faceplates so you can customize your new 3DS however you want to. Overall, the new 3DS is a lot better than the original 3DS, and it actually corrected a lot of broken things from the original 3DS. Next up, we have the new 3DS XL. The new 3DS XL basically has the same purpose as the new 3DS, which is to be better than the original version of it in almost every way possible. The overall design of the new 3DS is basically an exact copy of the original 3DS, just a bit more sleek and modern, I suppose, but it's basically the same. And of course, the XL means it has bigger screens than the new 3DS. It also has the same C or nub stick, whatever you want to call this thing. You also have the ZR and ZL shoulder buttons on the sides. You also have the weird cartridge slot placement, and you also have the weird stylus placement, but the stylus on this thing is actually a lot better than the new 3DS stylus. And overall, the new 3DS is better, but a downside of this thing is that you can't swap the faceplates on this thing, so that sucks. So after going through the history of all of the 3DSs, you're probably still wondering which one's actually worth getting, so let me narrow it down for you. These three 3DSs are honestly the best for the price and for your options. If you're looking just to play a couple games or maybe get this as a gift for a child, then the 2DS is probably your best option. The 2DS can play both DS and 3DS games, so you're completely fine on game selection, and the overall blocky design of the 2DS is much more child-friendly than compared to the clamshell design of the 3DS or really any other 3DS. And off of GameStop right now, you can easily get one of these for $60, or you can get one of these brand new for $80, and it comes with Mario Kart 7. So, these things are pretty cheap. The next 3DS that I would recommend is probably the new 3DS. Overall, the new 3DS has a lot more features for what it's worth, such as the face tracking 3D and other things that I already forgot. And it's also the newer model, which means it's a lot faster than the original one, so there's that. And you can easily get one of these for around $100 off of GameStop or cheaper off eBay. Also, you can easily customize your 3DS to however you want it, so there's also that. If you really need a bigger screen, then probably the new 3DS XL is probably your best option. The new 3DS XL is probably the best 3DS out of all of them, and it's basically the exact same as the new 3DS, just has bigger screens, and it's just overall better. And off of GameStop right now, you can buy one of these used or refurbished, I don't really care, for around $130, and you can probably get it cheaper off eBay or Craigslist, who knows. Now, if you're wondering why I did not include the original 3DS XL or the 2DS XLs, well, because the original 3DS XL is just really outdated and really slow, and it's the same price as the new 3DS, and overall, the new 3DS is just better than the 3DS XL, and I would recommend getting that instead. And if you're wondering why I did not include the 2DS XL, well, it's because right now, off the GameStop, you can buy the 2DS XL for around $120, and the new 3DS XL is only an extra $10, and you might as well just spend the extra $10 just to get the 3DS XL, mainly because it's just overall better, and the original 3DS is just not even worth it in 2019. So which 3DS is the best 3DS out of the 6 3DSs? Well, in my opinion, the new 3DS is probably the best 3DS out of all of them. Mainly because, well, it's a newer 3DS model, and because of that, it's a lot faster than the older 3DS models by a lot. Another thing is that you can easily get this thing for around $100 off of GameStop, eBay, or really whatever. It also has a lot more features such as the better battery life than the older 3DS models, the face tracking 3D, which is pretty awesome, the ability to customize your 3DS by changing the faceplates, and I suppose Amiibo support, because Amiibos are still a thing, and the older 3DS models don't have that. Also, the new 3DS is a lot more portable than the original 3DS XL, and new 3DS XL is just overall more portable. And overall, the new 3DS is probably the best bang for the buck 3DS, and if you're going to spend more than $100, you might as well just save up and get a Switch. This also takes us back to the main question of the video. Should you even consider buying a 3DS, or just save up and get a Switch? Well, here's my answer to that. So brand new, the new 3DS XL is $200 brand new, and that's really not worth it because the Nintendo Switch is only an extra $100, and probably cheaper in some places, or you can always get it used and save even more money. So basically, my philosophy is, really, you shouldn't spend more than $100 on a 3DS, and here's my reason why. The 3DS is still an amazing console, even by today's standards, and it also has that ginormous 3DS library, and not even including the old school DS library, and because of that, the 3DS is still an amazing console. But just like any other console, the console will eventually die, and the 3DS is almost at the end of its lifespan. And because of that, Nintendo will eventually stop producing these, and just stop, making games for this in general. And because of that, the 3DS eventually will lose its purpose as a game console. Now, yes, you can always replay games, but eventually you will get bored of those, and when it comes to that point, well, the 3DS is no longer worth the time to keep anymore. But on the other hand, the Switch is still pretty much brand new, even though it's 2 years old, and the games are still being developed right now, and it already has a pretty ginormous library of games, even for right now. Granted, it's mostly third party, but still. But overall, the Switch is still the better console than the 3DS. Because if you're going to spend more than $100 on a 3DS, and that's not even including games, you might as well just save up and try getting a Switch later on. Now, you're probably going to have a counter argument saying, like, if I buy a 3DS for around $100, I could probably get about 5 games, and that will equal about the same price as a Switch. Now, yes, you can do that, but my counter argument to that is, well... Wait, do I have one? Well, I really don't have a counter argument to that. If you want to spend around, hopefully under $100 for a 3DS, then get probably around 5-ish games, well, that's up to you. But, in my opinion, I would recommend saving that $100 and save up another $200 and then just get a Switch. And then you could probably buy this used and you probably can use that extra money you saved and just buy a game. But if you want to instead get 3DS, that's up to you. So, what do you guys think of the video? If you guys liked it, consider, hitting the like button, maybe subscribing, hitting the notification bell. If you guys didn't like it, well, just hit the dislike button and just tell me in the comments that you guys didn't like the video. And this guy was terrible, and it was completely useless. But if the guide was really helpful, well, just tell me in the comments down below, and maybe I'll do something similar to this. And I really hope I don't have to, because this took me 2 weeks to do. You're probably wondering why, but I don't know. I'm gonna go play Zelda. Bye!